should only run this once. I need a debugger. This is actually kind of fun. I'll show you something kind of wonky. So I can actually interactively, this is an interactive debugger in the browser. Now, the one bad thing about this is I can't do anything, what do you call it? So with JavaScript, everything's asynchronous. So like I can't do synchronous calls in the browser. With Node.js, you can do some things synchronous, but in this case, I have to provide a callback function for the value. So function, so I define a function, and then I can do console.log.
What is a synchronous call in the browser?
So I can't do analog read and then assign a value as the output. I can't do var equals and then value of analog read.
Oh.
I can't get a return value because that would require me to send the message back to the board and get the value back. Can't do that. As soon as it does a network access, it yields. So I have to provide a callback function so that when it gets the answer back, it can run the callback function. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So I have to, instead of printing the output of this, I have to run this console.log function.
We wrote callback functions in our C program for Cloud9.
And
sorry, not Cloud,
and it's getting values, but for some reason the values are just 0 for ADC 3.
It didn't start out 0.
No, they're fine. Which it's funny because they're fine over here. Why is it?
I think it drained it.
You know what? Probably is 0 because I probably turned the knob. I did. I turned the knob. Oh, that's not it. Oh, P935. There we go. So now interactively in the browser, I can actually type and run these bone script commands and interact with that. These sequence numbers, you'll see each time they increment, that's actually used for the callback functions. So that's how it keeps track of like it allocates a callback function for every sequence number. So when it gets a sequence, that's how it figures out what function to run. It's kind of ugly. I don't even unallocate it, so not beautiful there. But ultimately, it should unallocate it. I don't find the memory issues to be that bad, but it's definitely got a memory leak by design. You can throw away the objects, but I'm not throwing them away right now.
I don't know about Node.js to follow you.
No worries. So I'm getting the value here. The funny thing is, why am I not getting them into any of the pages that have float on them? Oh, float charts doesn't exist anymore. That would be why. Maybe that's not the best recommendation. Or maybe they just needed me to update a new version of the library. Because apparently that one doesn't exist anymore. Alright, let me see if the board has it. Whatever, I'll just copy theirs. There we go. Much ado about not finding the source to the library. Sorry about that. So actually opening up the debugger told me what the error was. If I just opened up the debugger, I would have found this much quicker.
So for me to copy what you're doing, what do I have to do?
This URL right here is something that, I mean, you could just run this, right? So this is, I've clicked save, and like you just need this URL.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it.
This is using the local IP address connection. So this is the magic IP address for where I'm reading this. Let me paste this into the sorry for all that time. It's just based on what we're trying to tackle coming on now. It just seemed worth it to try to debug that live. So I mean, really, just there's all sorts of visualization tools. I just picked a random JavaScript library that allows me to do visualization tools. The magic for me is happening the fact that I can make these bone script calls across the network.
So I'm looking at ADC3.
And one of the cooler ones is I can just do read text file. Which I didn't even think about doing that, but I could do read text file to read arbitrary text files off the board.
What is the utility of that? Read a text file off the board.
Well, because Linux exposes all the interfaces as files, right? So if I'm using a Linux driver, I can just
Display text onto the internet?
well, no, I'd plot
Totally
it.
lost.
I'd plot it.
Okay, so a text file such as a CSV that has values that I collected during some mission.
Where's my one that I'd let me just show the read text file example. First 192.168.7.2:8000. Oh, I keep typing 3. There, it's connected. Read the dog tag. So that's the image date. I used the July 7th version of the board file, so that's just a kind of a handy thing to read. But I could also read things like yes, close all this junk.
But I can just open up Cloud9 to see those things, or use the
These tabs.
buddy.
Sure, you can see those things that way, but icons. But if I want to like you're trying to do visualizations, right, of the lights on, lights off. I mean, sure, you can just type stuff into the command line. But if you're trying to create essentially, like, you could create a web page that people could point their boards to and find out status of the
okay. So
status
we can
of the
have
board,
binary
right?
indicators as well as numerical ones.
Right. So like var or no sys class GPIO. Let's
Wait, I think you had a typo.
yeah. Well, why is too many windows open? All right, so this class GPIO. What were the buttons? Buttons are exposed as GPIOs. So like I can do the mode and pause buttons. Just because I didn't feel like, oh no, they're not exported. Unless somebody knows what the GPIOs are for the buttons.
No, sir.
It is GPIO 69 for the pause button. And that is the lowest button. So CD sys class GPIO echo 69 into export. You just have to know that. Well, it's just like all these other LEDs and other interfaces, right? If I want to expose the sysfs entries for this, what you do is you write the GPIO number into the file export. Then a GPIO 69 file will show up. And if it kept value, it's a 1. If I press the button, it's a 0. So now I have a file that represents the status of a button. And so I can go into here and is it value? No. Let's just print X. Is directory. Oh. There we go. So data is 1. Press the button. 0. 1. 0. And it is going into the data field, so I can just print 1 or 0 or 1 or 0. Now we'll print out the extra new lines. All right. So now if now I've got that in the browser, how do I do a visualization for it? Right. So I just need that BBUI equivalent, right? So whatever we want to do for visualizations. I'm great at getting the data, when it comes to the plotting and the tool to actually draw it, that's right. I saw. Right.